What dangers do we often encounter in Tenerife's traffic? Contradictory and confusing road signing. We have arrived at this point in Las Americas, at Magma. I see that there is a stop sign and a roundabout sign ahead. Perfect. Everyone from any country knows that a roundabout is a priority road turning left, and all those who want to enter the roundabout must give priority to all vehicles already inside the roundabout. Then, once they entered, they have priority within the roundabout until they exit. If they want to spin around in the roundabout until dizzy, they have the right of way over all those who want to enter the roundabout. So I'm at this point, I encounter the stop sign and the roundabout sign. It's clear that I have to give priority to all those who are already in the roundabout, and once I enter the roundabout, I will have priority until I exit. Now it's clear and I will enter the roundabout. But what's happening? I'm already in the roundabout and I should have the right of way over all the vehicles entering the roundabout, but it seems that those who enter here into the roundabout have the right of way, and those in the roundabout must give way to those entering. Let's continue. At the next entrance, it seems that there are markings again that give priority to those already in the roundabout, and those entering must stop and give way. Here everything seems fine. Let's continue. I'm still inside the roundabout, and normally I should be able to continue driving inside the roundabout and have priority over those entering. However, surprise! Once again, I have encountered the giveaway sign and marking. Here, I should have the right of way because I'm inside the roundabout, and those entering should give way to me. Let's review the entrances to the roundabout. At the entrance from the south, I have a roundabout sign and a stop sign. At the entrance from the east, I have no priority restriction. That means I enter the roundabout like a highway, at the maximum permitted speed. At the entrance from the north, I have a roundabout sign and a give-way sign. At the entrance from the west, I have a roundabout sign, but no priority restriction. Everything is very confusing. For both residents and especially for the millions of tourists who transit this area annually, the roundabout is the main road and should have priority, and all entrances should have priority restrictions, stop or give way. But now, the road junction looks like this. This is not a roundabout. If we take the road markings and priority restrictions at face value, it means that the roundabout sign is wrongly installed at all 4 entrances to this road junction. It should have been a bypass sign instead. If we want this junction to be a roundabout, because roundabouts offer the greatest fluidity in traffic if properly marked, then the asphalt markings should be redone and the priority routes reconfigured so that the roundabout route is a priority road, and all entries are non-priority and give priority to those in the roundabout. Another intersection or another junction. We are in Los Cristianos, another point crossed by millions of tourists every year. Another situation that produces confusion, conflicts, and accidents. I am coming from the south, and from here it seems to be a roundabout, because that's what the signs tell me. That means if I catch a gap and enter the roundabout, then I will have priority until I exit. But, no! Although I'm already in the roundabout, I have to give priority to those entering the roundabout from the east. Okay, I continue moving forward in the roundabout and, what to see? Again, I have to give priority to those entering the roundabout from the north. And then, if I want to exit at the east exit, I can exit undisturbed because those entering the roundabout from the south have to give me priority. Where am I? Am I in a roundabout, or in an avalanche of intersections? Let's see the entrance from the north. At the entrance, I come across the roundabout sign, but I don't have to give priority to those already in the roundabout. Then, if I want to exit at the northern exit, I have to give way to those coming from the east. And if I change my mind and want to exit at the southern exit, I have to give way again to those entering from the north. If I'm coming from the east, I don't see the roundabout sign, and I have priority over those already in the roundabout. And then, since I'm already in the roundabout, I have to give way to those entering the roundabout from the north. So, the right-of-way priorities in this roundabout are bizarre and look like this. The logic of this junction with the status of a roundabout is confusing. In order for this roundabout to follow the roundabout rule, the right-of-way priorities should look like this. Otherwise, instead of the roundabout sign that we encounter at all 4 entrances, there should be a bypass sign. Tenerife and Spain in general are paradises of roundabouts. Yes, the roundabout is the best solution for traffic flow and safety. Unfortunately, if the logic of the roundabout is not well understood and if the roundabouts are incorrectly marked, this leads to conflicts, and conflicts lead to traffic jams and accidents. I probably don't need to say that accidents don't just mean material damage, but also victims, injured, seriously injured, or lifelong disabled people, and more seriously some people die. The last roundabout with serious problems in this presentation, but not the last problem in Tenerife, is the roundabout that connects Arona, the TF1 highway, and Los Cristianos. To the north, we have the municipality of Arona. To the south, we have Los Cristianos. To the east, we have the entrance ramp to the TF1 highway towards the airport. And to the west, we have the exit from the TF1 highway and the connection with Las Americas. It's a road junction that is daily transited by tens or hundreds of thousands of vehicles, and, due to the deficient configuration of this road junction, the entire south of the island suffers. The whole south of the island is blocked every day, starting from noon until late evening. But let's see how this junction is configured. We come down from the north, from Arona. We enter under the highway, and we reach the roundabout. However, the sign and the marking contradict each other. The sign tells me I'm entering a roundabout, but the road markings tell me I'm on a priority road. At the same time, those on the left who are already in the roundabout have the sign and marking to yield. Let's continue. From the right, we can see the traffic jam formed on TF 481, which represents the exit from the highway, and the connection road from Las Americas, which, when entering this traffic junction, encounters the yield sign and marking, but also the roundabout sign. We are inside the roundabout, and if I want to continue driving within the roundabout, I will have a surprise when I encounter the entry from Los Cristianos. We come across the yield sign and the pavement marking, and those entering the roundabout from Los Cristianos have the right of way. It's madness. We continue our journey inside the roundabout, and at the entrance of TF28 from Arona, we see the anomaly we discussed earlier. Those coming from Arona enter this roundabout with the right of way, while I am in the roundabout and have to yield to those coming from Arona. The traffic jam remains there and nothing will change until late at night. If we approach this junction from Los Cristianos, we have a speed limit of 40 km per hour and a warning that we are entering a roundabout. But at the entrance to the roundabout, we have priority over those who are already in the roundabout. If we enter this traffic junction from Las Americas or from exit 72 of the highway, we will have to wait. After losing minutes waiting in line, we encountered both the giveaway sign and marking, as well as the roundabout sign. So are we in a roundabout? Or not? Now, can we draw the priorities of passage in this junction to understand what is happening? Now we can see how inefficiently this junction was designed. Those who are inside the roundabout do not have the right of way, which is in contradiction with the roundabout rule. Those who enter this junction from the north-south or south-north axis have the right of way, while those coming from the west are blocked both at the entrance and exit of the junction. The priority of the axis was wrongly established. Usually, the priority is given to the axis with the highest traffic flow, and in case of equality, the impact on adjacent traffic is taken into account. How many vehicles pass through this traffic junction from Arona to Los Cristianos and vice versa? Hundreds? Thousands? Well, this is the axis with low traffic, but here, it has priority status. The larger traffic flow is from exit 72 of the highway and from Las Americas, which is divided into two directions. One part goes to Los Cristianos and the other part goes to Arona. Therefore, the priorities of passage need to be reconfigured to streamline the traffic flow from exit 72 of the highway and from Las Americas, which is dozens of times greater than that from Arona to Los Cristianos and vice versa. To better see the difference, we have prepared this board for comparison. This is not the perfect solution, but it is the solution that can be quickly implemented with minimal costs. However, I will come back later with arguments that can make the solution better. This road junction cannot be a roundabout due to the fact that the design of the exit 72 from the highway has a construction pattern that has been proven to cause conflicts and traffic jams. The common lane for acceleration and deceleration is against the fluidity of traffic, and the conflicts that cause traffic jams for tens of kilometers occur frequently, as is the case here. Accidents also occur very often. The roundabout road signs in this intersection should be removed because they cause confusion now, and the roundabout solution is not suitable for this road junction. To correct the current situation, we need to consider all the factors that influence the flow and safety of traffic in this road junction. We have already mentioned that the exit from the highway and the connection from Las Americas is the axis with the highest traffic flow, and this axis needs to be freed up and streamlined. If we free up these two intersections, we will create more flow for this axis, but it's not enough, so we need to look further and back to see what needs to be improved. As you can see, the traffic jam is at maximum levels. Cars in the queue are barely moving. We are on the TF 481 road segment, which handles the flow of cars coming from the highway exit, as well as cars coming from Las Americas. Here, at this point, there is another serious problem. Two traffic flows meet here. In the second lane, there are cars that have exited the highway, while in the first lane, there are cars coming from Las Americas. To increase the flow of cars exiting the highway, the first lane should be a non-priority lane, and the exit from the highway should be given priority in both lanes. In this way, the flow of cars coming from a higher speed limit to a lower speed limit could disperse more easily into two lanes, where more cars could fit, and the waiting queue would not remain in the deceleration lane and eventually onto the highway. We continue further in back. It can be observed that a queue has already formed in the deceleration lane of the highway exit. We are in the deceleration lane and notice another problem. The deceleration lane is shared with the acceleration lane for those entering the highway from Las Americas. Some want to exit the highway, while others want to enter. This is the conflict that generates not only traffic jams, but also accidents. This situation is common on the highways in Tenerife. While those who want to enter the highway need to accelerate on the acceleration lane to reach cruising speed, those who are exiting will brake on the deceleration lane in front of those who are accelerating. Moreover, those in the speed lane who want to exit are in a queue, closely spaced to each other. This way, those who want to enter the highway have neither the cruising speed of the speed lane nor sufficient space between two cars on the first lane of the highway. As a result, vehicles will enter the highway at a reduced speed, forcing those in the speed lane to brake. If the driver entering the speed lane doesn't have the cruising speed of the highway's speed lane, those in lane 1 of the highway will be forced to brake suddenly, and those behind them even more abruptly, until the necessary braking distance is lost and thus accidents occur. If those in lane 1 brake, those in lane 2 will automatically brake as well. Assuming that no accident occurs, this is a point that triggers the occurrence of the traffic jam. This 14-kilometer route usually takes 19 minutes to travel, but due to the poor configuration of this common exit or entry into the highway, the time can increase to over an hour, meaning 50 to 60 minutes lost on a 14-kilometer stretch. Physics shows us that it is not necessary to stop a vehicle in a queue for a traffic jam to occur. It is enough for only one vehicle to reduce its speed, causing those behind it to brake more and more, until the traffic comes to a complete stop or an accident occurs. You have probably been stuck in a traffic jam many times, and in the end, you realized that there was no accident or broken down car that caused the traffic blockage. To fix this design flaw and stabilize the safety and flow of traffic, we need to eliminate the intersection of vehicles entering and exiting the highway. How do we do that? By using specific markings. We gradually create an acceleration space, and then a deceleration space, and we prohibit vehicles that want to exit from entering the acceleration lane. We put a solid line for them, so they don't enter the acceleration space for those who are entering. Then we put warning arrows for changing lanes for those who are entering the highway with the loss of the right lane. However, only this might not be enough for easy entry if those in the speed lane, in the first lane of the highway, are driving too close to each other. Therefore, on this highway segment, it is necessary to distance the vehicles that are traveling in the first lane. How? I found distancing markings between vehicles like this in the Spanish Standard. With an indicator that warns of the minimum distance between vehicles of 3 arrows, for easier orientation of drivers on the first lane of the highway. Thus, those in the acceleration lane will easily find an entry window into the first lane of the highway. Then, we configure an exclusive deceleration lane at the exit through markings. Because the flow of cars exiting this exit is very high, and because the exit is immediately after the acceleration or entrance lane to the highway, it is absolutely necessary for the outflow to be very rapid. Therefore, a secondary deceleration lane should be built, so that those exiting the highway do not remain stuck in the deceleration lane, and further back in the speed lane of the highway, which will then block the acceleration lane from the Las Americas entrance. This is not the perfect solution, we are just trying to fix the design errors. Never should the highway exit be placed after the highway entrance. The order of flow and safety is first exit and then highway entrance. So, to recap. 1. Distancing of vehicles in the first lane of the highway is mandatory so that those entering the highway from Las Americas can enter easily and safely. Therefore, we should put markings and signs for vehicle spacing. 2. Exclusive lane for acceleration and highway entrance.
'Oh my God.
3. Exclusive lane for highway exit and deceleration. 4. Another secondary exit lane should be built for maximum flow. 5. At the intersection with the road coming from Las Americas TF 481, the lanes exiting the highway should have priority, and TF 481 should give way. Six. At the entrance to the interchange, priority should be given to those coming from TF 481, those exiting the highway in Las Americas, and those coming from Arona on TF 28 should give way. 7. TF 481 should also be a priority road over TF 655 coming from Los Cristianos. If these errors will be corrected, and the right-of-way priorities will be as shown in this image, traffic will flow smoothly throughout the south of the island. There is still one problem, the blind spot for those coming down from Arona on TF 28. Giving right-of-way to vehicles coming from the right is the worst traffic rule of all time. The driver of a commercial vehicle without rear windows has native visibility in front. In the back, through the rear-view mirrors, he have visibility of approximately 15 degrees on each side of the vehicle. By turning their head to the right at a 90-degree angle, he have visibility on the right side only as far as the right door window allows. By turning his head to the left at a 90-degree angle, he have visibility on the left side only as far as the right door window allows. However, he have the ability to stick their head out the window to obtain visibility on the entire left side of the vehicle. However, on the right side of the vehicle, behind the window of the right door, the driver has no visibility, this being a blind spot. Physically, it is impossible for the driver of a commercial vehicle to ensure from the right side from this angle. Nevertheless, we find the priority of passage for vehicles coming from the right in many intersections. All drivers who will have to give priority to vehicles from the right, from an acute angle compared to the vehicle they are driving, risk causing a traffic accident and also risk the consequences of the law. Let's see what happens with commercial vehicles coming from Arona. Therefore, it is necessary to intervene with a more extensive work here, in order to ensure commercial vehicles coming from Arona have a visibility angle of maximum 90 degrees. The trajectory of TF28 must be changed so that the intersection with TF481 is at an angle of 90 degrees. In this way, commercial vehicle drivers coming from Arona will have sufficient visibility to give priority to vehicles coming from the right, and they will be able to secure themselves properly when entering the intersection. These modifications should be sufficient to improve traffic flow at this road junction and in the area of kilometer 72 on the TF1 highway. If even after these modifications the traffic flow does not improve, then the only solution is to abandon the common acceleration and deceleration lane. Either only the exit and deceleration lane remains, or only the entrance and acceleration lane remains. I have presented some issues among many traffic safety problems in Tenerife. I don't know how things work and if there is a traffic safety authority in the Canary Islands, but I know that at least in Germany, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, or Romania, road signs must first be approved by road safety experts from the traffic police. So the island has multiple road safety issues. Deficient road markings are a major factor in accidents, and in Canaria the risk of accidents is increased and influenced by the very large number of tourists. Any tourist will consider the rules of the roundabout when he sees the roundabout sign, but then he may cause an accident due to the fact that, being in the roundabout, he did not give way to a vehicle that, surprisingly, has right of way at the entrance in the roundabout. Any tourist knows that the acceleration lane for entering the freeway must be exclusively for acceleration, that the length of the acceleration lane ensures the start to cruising speed and then enough distance to safely enter in the speed lane. Minutes? Or 69? How long does it take you to cover 14 kilometers?